In this episode, we are in Phnom Penh and we are going to the 2Pangea buffet that is located right in the heart of the city. It's actually right next to the riverside, which is a very popular destination for a lot of tourists to go. And before we actually jump into the episode and get everything started, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to help out the channel. And here we go. And for this buffet, it's actually, I would say, pretty expensive for Cambodia. It's actually $29 at the time I went, at the time of filming. And that's actually pretty expensive for Cambodia, because you can probably eat a whole day's meal if you go to the right places for $5. So you're definitely paying a premium. And one of the things about this place is actually located in a casino that's in the city. So you get that added premium to it, and they do charge a little extra for that. And actually, one of the things I wanted to also include was they actually charge $5 for fruit juice, and in this case I got watermelon fruit juice, but that costs $5, so that in itself is also pretty expensive. So definitely something to know for this buffet.
So for this buffet, since it's inside the casino, if you're playing in the casino, can you eat for free?
No, unfortunately you can't eat for free. I'm not sure if they'll comp you for anything maybe, but not that I'm aware of that they give out anything for free to eat there. But entering the casino itself, you actually have to go through a security and get your bags and stuff checked, so they do that, metal detectors. The casino is pretty nice. It has kind of your standard casino items. I know the owner of the casino, they are from Hong Kong, so the interior of the place is pretty nice. But overall, the biggest thing to know, it's pricey, especially for Cambodia. And as we go through the walkthrough, you'll actually see the majority of the foods are probably Asian kind of leading foods. There are some items that are like pizza and some bread and cheeses that are kind of lean towards a Western palate, but overall it's mostly Asian foods. One of the things I kind of noticed the most was in kind of, I guess you call it the meat station, but there was a lamb chop that they had hung up that you can go and you get your slices of lamb. But personally, I'm not a fan of lamb, so I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, the decoration here looks pretty nice. Very comparable to other Asian buffets that I went to in my past time. So before you came here, were you pretty familiar with this buffet? Was there like anything in particular that you really wanted to try?
I would say no, not really. The last time that I was in Cambodia, this buffet didn't even exist, so for me it's relatively new. It's not, I wouldn't say like new for buffet, because it's been around for, I gotta say, at least 5 years or so. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's been around for a while. But for me, this is brand new. This is the first time that I've actually been there. And as you mentioned earlier, they do a great job of their presentation. Everything looks appealing, and they clean everything up and nice. So everything does look appetizing. And from all the things that I did have, everything was pretty fresh. So there wasn't food items that kind of just sat there for a long time. I know as I was going through the walkthrough line, there was a kind of a grill station where, as you saw, I put on the squid onto my plate. They would actually grill up the meats every so often, and if it was kind of sitting there for a while, they would just remove those ones that they just grilled up, and then they would grill up some new ones and replace those. So I thought that was really nice, because you're not having to sit there and eat this food that might have sat there for like hours and just been just really old, and of course not have that good of a taste to it as you would have with something fresh.
Yeah, definitely. I think
overall
having a fresh meat is good, because like when we went to Vegas and other buffets in the past, sometimes you don't know how long that stuff been sitting there for. But I noticed there's something on the video. It's the charcoal style grill. What were they cooking on that thing?
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier, where they were grilling up the squid that I grabbed. And there's through the walkthrough, there was some kind of raw meats they're showing. And those were the different meats they were actually grilling. There was some beef, so they were putting those on skewers and they would grill those up. There was the squid and a few other items. But overall it was a pretty good buffet. The only thing that I guess I had the issue with was the price. And I kind of understand it's in a very tourist spot, so the price is going to be higher. But like I said earlier, it's just so much further, and that much larger increase in price. Even though $29, in Western standards, is relatively inexpensive, but there's just lots of other things to be able to try, especially street food in Cambodia. That $29 would go a long ways to be able to get some really great street food.
So okay, if you were to go to a local buffet, how much would that cost? Since $29 is really high, would it be like $10 or something?
It could be $10. It kind of depends on where you're going, but there's places as low as like $6, and with that $6, it's not like they're actually limiting you at that buffet either. Like, they have tons and tons of food, and it's all pretty fresh, and they have a lot of different varieties of things you can get to. So it's not like you're limited because it's just the price is $6. But like I said earlier, you could feed yourself for the day with $5 if you kind of know the right places to go. So for a buffet to charge $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, it's still relatively inexpensive, especially compared to this buffet.
So with this buffet, is there any time limits to it?
Nope, there's no time limits for this buffet, which is nice. But the one thing that I do want to note is that they actually open at 5 and they close at 10 p.m. So they're not open too long. And you can actually make reservations, which I did, and I came on during a weekday. I'm not sure about the weekend. I'm pretty sure, because a lot of Cambodian people tend to go out a lot more during the weekends, and so it might fill up a little bit more. I'm not 100% on that, but I made it reservations just in case. But when I was there wasn't too many people there. You didn't really have to make a reservation during the weekday.
Yeah, I'm looking at this video right now. I'm looking around in your surroundings. It looks really empty. It looks like it's almost dead. So with all the extra food that they have, what do they do with it? Do they like give it to the staff to eat afterwards, or do you know what they do with it?
I have no idea, but from what I noticed, because they have the different chefs or cooks kind of standing around, and they're kind of observing as customers and stuff come in and grabbing certain foods and stuff. And I think what they do is they kind of monitor inventory, and they kind of look at what needs to be made at certain points as they see people eating certain things. So in terms of inventory wise, I don't think they're like overcooking things and then just having it sit out there forever. They kind of just watch, and then as things start to kind of go down because it's been eaten quite a bit, they'll go and they'll replace those because they'll make new ones of them. So in that sense, I think it's good.
So when you said you came here on a weekday, what time did you come?
I came probably like towards the middle, about 8 o'clock. So it was a little bit later than normal dinner time, because I think most people in Cambodia eat somewhere around 6. So 6 o'clock, it's not too late, but it was, I would say in kind of a more normal restaurant, something that is not as pricey as this place is, people, they tend to eat kind of longer dinners. And so, a 2-hour dinner with family and friends is not uncommon at all. So definitely, I think, it's the price that kind of gets people out, because you have so much options in terms of food in Phnom Penh itself, because it's just in terms of food, it's just a diverse selection of food. You can get just about any food from around the world in Cambodia and Phnom Penh itself, because so many people have kind of come over to the city and opened up shop, and they're creating different foods that you can get. So with all those choices, and with the prices being much lower than it is at the buffet, so you can imagine that a lot of people, they will choose to go somewhere else to kind of buy their foods for dinner.
So looking at your place, what's that green bread thing that you got?
the bread, which was kind of odd. I mean, we've eaten the buffet so many times together that I'm not the bread person, but for some reason this one just kind of popped out. It looked a little different. It was a pumpkin bread, and so it was some seeds from a pumpkin. It was pretty good. I was thinking, it's normal bread, but it was nice. It was moist. The outer shell was crispy, and so it was pretty good. It definitely was fresh, so definitely there was no dryness to it, which I definitely prefer. But yeah, I had a feeling you would see that and kind of wonder, like, why did he grab bread?
Yeah, I saw the bread, and then I saw that soup thing, and the soup thing had bread on top of that too, and I was wondering, why is he grabbing so much carbs?
Well, the thing on the soup was a little different. It was a tomato soup, and the crust on top of the bread is kind of more closer to like a cracker. So it was very crispy, and essentially you break it in and let it fall in, soak up some of the soup, and then you would eat it like if you were to take a cracker and dip it into soup. But it still wasn't too much. I had just that one lone piece of bread that was the majority of the carbs, so I still kept pretty close to what I usually do, which was not eat carbs at all. But this time, just a tiny little piece of bread.
And I'm noticing that, like, for the desserts, there's a lot of Vietnamese style dishes here. Like this wall display with the pen dam and everything. It looks really good. That's something I definitely would try. Did you try that one?
I did try that one. I tried a few different things. There was a lot, and of course, with myself, I tend to eat it all and I have no space left, especially for dessert. I try to, but you try different things and you end up eating more than what you should at a buffet, and then you end up having no room. And even though you plan to try to have room so you can try desserts, I just had a tiny bit, so I didn't get to try everything. But for my style, like I said, they do the same thing where the chefs are watching everything and they kind of replace things as needed. So I did try, and I'm trying to remember exactly how many. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 different types of desserts, and I try to kind of go for ones that I never had at other places. An example would be the grass jelly dessert, which is a shooter that you can see me pick up, and essentially if you're not familiar with grass jelly, it's kind of like a jello, and they put it with kind of a sweet syrup. And in this case, I've never had it as a shot. I've always had it kind of by itself, cut into cubes, and usually with a sweet syrup, but also with some coconut milk, sweet coconut milk, and that's usually how I like it, which is really good. In this case, they didn't have the coconut milk, but they had the sweet syrup and the grass jelly itself, which is still good, of course.
Yeah, grass jelly is something you can often buy at Asian grocery stores as a drink itself. I know as a kid, that's something I had a lot growing up as a drink. So you buy kind of like those juice boxes, but then it's grass jelly, at least for me growing up in US and also in Asia too. So one thing I did notice is you got this huge piece of cake. What was that about?
That was actually a cheesecake. So it wasn't your normal regular cake, it was a cheesecake, and it was pretty light. So I wanted to kind of look for desserts that were more light, so I didn't leave feeling like I was super heavy and bloated or whatever. So I went for the lighter things I can get. And cheesecake, of course you can get actually heavy cheesecake, which I know I've had before at other places, but in this case I took that one piece and it was light, so it was pretty good. But overall, all the desserts were pretty delicious. So definitely a good place to go if you want to spend the money.
And to wrap up the episode are our notables, and unfortunately for this episode we did not have any notables.
And to support our channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm. And for more photos, follow us on Instagram. See you guys on the next episode.